Hello, here with us today we have Alexander Hamilton and Thomas Jefferson. Which type of government do you prefer?
Well, I believe there are good qualities in democracy, but a pure form of republic would be very beneficial. This pure republic is just an idea, but it's not so substantial. The government is restrained to very narrow limits of space and population, so a republic form would be better, but with some democracy built into it.
I would prefer a limited republic, not a democracy, with a Bill of Rights that is very lenient and can have many amendments added to it. We need an aristocracy and monarchy in our government with a strong central government with an elite rule. The common people are incapable of self-rule. They cannot rule themselves. We need the strong central government to prevent the abuse in the government, and it should be based off a British model.
Based on your response, what would you do with all the protests after this election?
I am not a big fan of conflict and violence, so I would send in police troops to basically to try and avoid any conflict. We would have to take we'd make it a controlled environment to stop any form of violence and to make sure no one is injured.
Well, I think violence is a part of life. We need revolutions, rebellions to get where we are today. So, when it comes to the protest, fight for what you believe in. Donald Trump may not be the best choice. I'm not saying he isn't, not saying he is. But the protest just showed that we, as Americans, care about our election and our government.
But we are not protesting they are protesting the flag. That is not the same as protesting Trump. That is not a reasonable way to go about it. They need to follow the law at all times, as do their citizens.
What is your perspective on limited government and balance of power?
Well, I'm inclined to express my principles in definite and practical terms. I do believe in limits on government. The government should be small. The purpose of the government is to protect our equal rights. I believe our natural rights help define the proper role of government.
We need a separation of powers, which can be achieved through checks and balances. We need the checks and balances to keep all of our government in check with one another. Each branch needs to have the same amount of power so that one is not more powerful than the other or weaker than the others. And then we also need to have any person in power know that they are below the law, as stated in the Magna Carta, which we could base our government off of.
What do you think of our government today?
Our government today is a very well-structured government, since it still has the separation of powers, the checks and balances. It's still a republic with a limited government, except we probably should have aristocrats and monarchs, but that's not quite necessary. We do have a Bill of Rights, and
See, Alexander Hamilton.
our Constitution is good. We have added more to it as it is up for interpretation.
Well, I kind of agree. We still are a republic form of government. We still have the separation of powers, checks and balances, and whatnot. But when it comes to the whole monarchy thing, we developed our country on the fact that we were trying to get away from a monarchy. So I think right now there are some little mishaps that are going on in our government, but I think it's pretty good.
How did popular sovereignty change from your time to now?
Well, popular sovereignty means people can make sure that the government stays on the right track. The government is subject to the will of the people. No government can continue under the control of the people fully. Popular sovereignty now is more profound than it was back in my time, but people take it way too far.
The people do have a large say in the government, and we do run it for them. Their tax money goes to pay our governors and anyone in the government, which means they're more apt to help them. It's about the best we can get to so far. There's still room for improvement, but it has improved since when it was first created.
What is your opinion on the additions to the Bill of Rights?
The additions to the Bill of Rights were necessary in that we made the Constitution so it was up for interpretation. We needed things added as things progressed because we didn't know everything that the future was to hold. It's good that we've added to the Bill of Rights.
Well, Hamilton, I think because times have changed, it's good that we did change it. We added some things, we took out some things, but we didn't have to totally scratch out certain amendments. All around, I think staying to the old traditions is a great thing.
How are we, the U.S., going to get out of our trillions of dollars in debt?
We need our Secretary of Treasury to help us do this. We need, as we've done in the past, we need to make it more industrial and commercial, our government, still less agriculture. We need to invest in our banks. We need to have a tax on all imported goods. We need to redistribute the wealth to make a bigger middle class. We need to invest in bonds. We need interest given, all of that stuff.
Well, I think that the wealthy should be held more accountable. We should all pay our fair share of taxes, but because they have more money, they should be the ones paying more taxes. We need to just work out the economy a little more, and the people should be more involved. Well, I think that he should shut up.
Here with us today is the great Alexander Hamilton, and with his enemy, Thomas Jefferson.